Tonight at 6, we are tracking this. Look at it, this. This is Hurricane Helene, a Cat 3 storm preparing to make landfall. This is a live look now outside of what you're seeing there on the radar. This is Tampa. This is the Sunshine Sky Bridge, where the tropical storm force winds are already battering the area.
So Florida right now is bracing for potential nightmare storm surges. The system also bringing us a weather impact alert when Helene's remnants reach us tomorrow, and Angela's tracking it.
Yeah, well, and we could see the bridge there moving. It has been closed to traffic, so no traffic on that Sky Bridge, and a lot of people have evacuated.
And they needed to because of the dangerous storm surge. With a landfalling hurricane, we get tornadoes. They're dealing with tropical storm to hurricane force winds and the threat of flooding. Locally, we're going to get the wind and the rain. We've been talking about this all week long and let you know we started to alert you yesterday of the local impacts for tomorrow. That's the weather impact alert. 40 to 60 mile-per-hour winds, maybe even some higher gusts. Numerous power outages possible along with wind damage. You need to follow the forecast. Make sure your cell phones are charged. If you have a generator, would be a good idea to fuel that up as well. This is the latest on Helene, a strong Category 2 hurricane, or Category 3 hurricane rather, with the potential of reaching Category 4 strength. You can see in that range of 111 to 129 is a Cat 3. If it reaches 130, it becomes a Category 4 hurricane. The local impacts: rain arriving around midnight, lowland flooding possible, strong winds that will start around 10 a.m. Those gusts of 30 plus may last 24 hours or more. The damaging wind gusts 40 to 60, noon to 9 tomorrow.
All right, thanks so much, Angela. Right now, several Red Cross workers from here in central Indiana are on their way. They're headed south to help those impacted by the storm. 9 volunteers will support sheltering, feeding, and other efforts. 2 of them hit the road today. They're headed for Alabama. We also know that Indiana Task Force 1 is in the Panhandle right now to assist with search and rescue efforts as needed.
Tonight at 6, an Indianapolis woman has been sentenced to home detention but won't go to prison for the shooting of a rideshare driver.
Our Rich Nye talked to the driver who was shot last year, who now is trying to make sense of this plea deal.
Marco Bautista first talked to me from his hospital bed just 2 days after he was shot.
When I wake up, they tell me, you a survivor.
Bautista is an Uber driver who picked up a man from this house on Winthrop Avenue just before 9 p.m. on January 4th of last year. The man's girlfriend, Rakisha Rogers, came out of the house chasing the car and firing gunshots. One bullet came through the trunk all the way through the driver's seat, hitting Bautista in the lower back. On Thursday, Rogers was sentenced for criminal recklessness for shooting into the car. She will serve 1.5 years on house arrest, plus 3.5 years on probation.
The plea agreement dismissed 4 of the 5 charges against Rogers, and she winds up not being convicted of actually shooting a person.
I didn't expect the resolution because we are telling the community, if you shot someone else, it's zero jail time. It is not make sense for me, but I respect the justice.
Bautista immigrated to Indianapolis from Brazil. He still works for Uber, but is afraid to take rides at night. He supplements his income as a soccer referee.
I am 100% recovered, but I have PTSD. I had some other problems. I didn't work for 3 months.
Bautista attended the sentencing with mixed emotions about the 22-year-old shooter.
I have the both ways. Sometimes I say, oh, she had domestic violence, but when you pull the trigger, you are responsible for all bullets.
Bautista says he hopes Rogers serves her sentence and becomes a good citizen. In Indianapolis, Rich Nye, 13 News.
Rich says that Rogers and the prosecutor both declined to comment on the sentence, which does include GPS monitoring and mandatory mental health counseling.
2 men tonight are now formally charged for a road rage shooting on the east side of Indianapolis. All of this unfolding last Friday around 8 p.m. near 21st and Shadeland. Now, police tell us the victim was making a U-turn when the car behind him started yelling at them, escalating to an argument. Then the victim told police a passenger in the other car started shooting. Police nearby were able to track down the suspect's car, taking Terrence C. Graves and Keith Hill into custody. And tonight, new court documents reveal the images from the security cameras that police used to piece together what happened. Today, Hill and Seagraves were charged with battery with a deadly weapon and attempted murder. Now the man who was shot, we're told, is expected to be okay.
A family now looking for answers after a 65-year-old man was found dead in his apartment near Mass Ave and Michigan Street. Marina Silver spoke with his family as they try to figure out what went down.
Forrest Hill lived in these downtown apartments. A call for welfare check led police to his apartment on Wednesday afternoon. That's where they found him dead. His sister says he was beaten.
Charisse Hill says she got a call around 3 Thursday morning that someone killed her brother. And she says Forrest just moved into the apartments over the summer. And she had last talked to him on Tuesday. She says police told her someone called saying they were Forrest's nephew and he needed to be checked on. But when Hill asked her nephew about the call, he told her it wasn't him who called police.
Look what's happening. They're just killing people for the fun of it. Police ain't gonna do anything about it. But they gonna get tired of seeing this face. That was my brother.
The family tells me they want answers. They want to know who called police for that welfare check claiming to be a nephew. Reporting in downtown Indy, Marina Silva, 13 News.
So far tonight, IMPD says that there's no one in custody associated with the case. According to police data, Hill's death now is the 127th criminal homicide in Indianapolis in 2024. Right now, IMPD also investigating a shooting. This happened on the near northwest side. It sent a man to the hospital, last listed in critical condition. This happened in just the last hour and a half near 29th and MLK. Right now, we're working to find out about any potential suspects or arrests in the case. We'll keep you updated.
A vote planned in Tippecanoe County will determine whether Purdue students will have an on-campus voting site.
The county's election board set to decide tomorrow morning. Tonight, Emily Longnecker explains why there's controversy about this.
Voting advocates tell us in the 2020 general election, the line was out the door with students voting at Mackey Arena. This is the new spot, the new location being considered as an early voting site, the rec center here on campus. But here is the deal. It would only be open on October 24th for 4 hours, but not on Election Day. That day would be October 24th, according to a person at the Tippecanoe County Clerk's office. Friday's vote by the county's election board comes after an outcry about not having an on-campus voting center for this election. Right now, there are 9 early voting sites in Tippecanoe County and 15 on Election Day. The university and election board issued a joint statement saying they proposed a, quote, viable on-campus location for early voting on October 24th. The statement went on to say there were other voting locations in walking proximity to campus. The proposal for this early voting site brought criticism from local and state Democrats.
The early voting site is helpful. It's not adequate. It doesn't give enough voting hours that are actually convenient for Purdue students.
This college Republican says there's a huge voter pool on campus.
On both sides of the aisle. I mean, being a Republican, you want young people to be involved in the party, and especially if you're a Democrat, you want young people to be involved in the party. So when you have a huge pool of voters in a campus and there's no place to vote, it's not in the best interest of either party.
The Tippecanoe County Election Board meets tomorrow at 10 a.m. to decide all of this. In West Lafayette, Emily Longnecker, 13 News.
Rain and the threat of damaging winds tomorrow. The rain threat continues to into the weekend for football at IU and Purdue.
Still ahead on this Thursday night, the state of downtown Indianapolis.
We're digging into the blockbuster impact that we've seen from hosting some of the biggest events here in Indianapolis this year. But first, before that, improving emergency response time.
We want you to see how one county is making sure first responders reach you in record time. That's next.